Hey there, my name is Cameron, also known as Venus Theory, and today I'm here with Loopmasters to show you how to start creating custom loops using the features of Loopcloud. Loopcloud is obviously great for browsing samples, but it has an 8-track sequencer and some built-in effects that allow you to quickly customize and play with loops on the fly to get them ready to go when you drag them into your session. But beyond that, it has a lot of cool other abilities like auditioning different samples with the same positions and other things we're going to go over here today that make it a very functional tool combined with the Loopcloud plugin in practice to make sure that you're choosing the right samples for your track. In this video, we're going to be using Loopcloud along with the Loopcloud plugin to build out a full drum section for a track. So with that, let's hop into the DAW and get started. Alrighty, so here we are in the session, and this is just a super basic kind of liquidish drum and bass sort of thing. So what we're going to be doing is using Loopcloud to start creating the drum section for this track and build everything out using Loopcloud and the 8-track player. Before we start diving into Loopcloud, do remember you'll want to load the Loopcloud plugin up into your session, and this is going to be important because this allows Loopcloud to communicate directly with your DAW, so even if we change tempos or anything like that, Loopcloud is going to adjust the samples on the fly to match, and this way we can hear everything in time and in context with the track, which is actually really cool and makes life a lot easier when you're doing some sample hunting. Here in Loopcloud, I found a pack rolling D&B mechanisms, so I think we'll use this to get started. I've already found a hi-hat here. And I think we will start basing our groove off of this. So what I'm gonna do is play the DAW and then start building a drum groove here by zooming out a little bit, and we'll just make this maybe 2 bars or so, and we can build out a really basic drum groove from that. So let's start off with the hi-hat. So we'll play our DAW and Loopcloud is going to follow. Cool. So I think we're well underway here. Let's start adding maybe our kick drum next. So we'll go to track 2. I'm gonna switch over to kicks and let's find a kick one shot. Turn this up a bit. That seems to be good. Let's zoom out and turn this into a loop. Let's do 4 bars this time. Turn this last one down a bit. Cool. Let's get a snare going next. I think that's good. Let's tighten this up though. Cool. Let's grab maybe a couple top loops here just to start fleshing out the groove. Excellent. And let's get, for the sake of posterity, let's add a couple cymbals here. Cool. With that said, it's really that easy to build out an entire drum groove from Loopcloud, and we can take this a bit further actually without too much effort. So we've got a pretty full section here. We've got a hi-hat loop we generated from a single one shot and just created our own pattern. We've got our kick, got snare, which we tightened up with the envelope, a couple top loops here, and then just a handful of cymbal stuff. So From here, we can actually do a couple things within Loopcloud to prepare this to drag into our session. But I think first, I want to demonstrate something that I think is particularly cool, because this kick drum, if we unsolo this here, I think it's cool, but I'm not sure it's right for this because it doesn't really cut through anywhere. So I think what we can do instead is go home. Let's look for a different kick drum. And maybe we'll find something a bit more dubstep-esque. And you'll see that it actually instantly replaced all of those samples with this new sample. So if we play this, we can instantly preview a bunch of new kicks here without losing the groove. So let's try and find something that's a bit heavier and a bit brighter. I think that one works. It's got a bit more click to it. So from here, let's take a couple extra ideas within Loopcloud to prepare this to drag into our session now that we're happy with all of the sounds. One of the things we can do is add effects to the loop, which is particularly powerful to change it. So not only can we do things like pitching it or editing the sample, we can add some built-in effects. So let's play this loop, go to Effects, Edit, and let's do maybe just a filter sweep, something nice and easy. So I'm just going to get a relatively resonant filter sweep going on here, and let's change this. Let's maybe change the mode to sine, and this way we could have it kind of close and open throughout the course of the loop. So it closes off and then opens up a bit. So cool. Let's mess with this one a bit. This one I think could maybe benefit from a touch of reverb. So let's go to Effects, Reverb, and we'll just grab the acoustic guitar. Just to make these cymbals a little bit splashier. Moving on here to these percussions. Let's maybe pan these out. That could be kind of fun. So let's do a panner. Let's do sine. I think that should be kind of cool. And this way it's just going to kind of move around a little bit. Let's maybe actually experiment with one of the other presets. We'll do 2-bar. And then let's add a touch of delay to this as well. That way we're just getting a bit more groove, because this works, but it's not quite what I want. Let's do dotted eighths there. Cool. I think that's good. And then maybe these cymbals, we'll do the same thing. Let's just add a little bit of reverb to these. So I'll just add the acoustic guitar preset because that works pretty well. And that way we'll just smooth out these hits a little bit. Let's maybe envelope the start of this hit as well, because everything else seems pretty okay. I just want to smooth that out. And let's hear everything in context now with a bit of processing. Cool. I think that snare we'll do just a little bit of reverb on as well, just add a bit of space. Nothing too heavy and too crazy. Nice subtle reverb. And now we've got this all put together. Next, let's just blend these down a little bit. I'm going to turn these cymbals down a touch. Maybe just blend these top loops a little differently. Turn that kick down a touch. And I think we're probably good to go. We'll bring that kick back up a little bit. So now we'll buy all of these. So we can do that all in one fell swoop, which is nice and easy. And now we can export this. But the cool thing is all of this processing and stuff is actually going to be printed into what we export. So we can go to export and we can export a couple of different versions. Current mix, original file, process current track, process separate files. So we can actually drag this out as an entire stem, but I'm going to drag this out as separate files. That way I have control over each of these in my mixer because things change over time. One other thing to keep in mind, in the advanced options, you may or may not want to normalize. In this case, I don't want to normalize. I want these mixed as they are right now because I think this represents more or less my rough mix. Now we'll click and drag export. And we've got all of these in the DAW. I think looping should be engaged, so let's just loop all of these out, which is always a thrilling process. I don't know about you, but it's one of my favorite things to sit here and drag out all my loops like this. And I think just for a bit of movement, let's make these every other bar, just so we're not getting the same kind of groove to the cymbals. Maybe we'll just add this in between ride. And now we can play this back. We'll mute the Loopcloud app and cool. Let's maybe double that out and add a halftime section because we've got everything pretty much ready to go. We've got our snare with the processing built in. We'll just create a halftime snare groove, double that out a couple times, and now we've got the kind of rough idea of our track. Turn those cymbals down a bit. And it is really that easy to use Loopcloud to sketch out ideas. I absolutely love this feature, and I think the ability to switch samples on the fly without losing the groove is incredibly useful in context because it can be very tedious to hunt for the right samples. I'm sure you've run into that many times, as have I, where you sit there digging for snares for like 3 hours and none of them work. But this makes it really simple and really straightforward to browse not only the samples in Loopcloud, but samples from your own library or samples you've saved from Loopcloud, hear them in context and see what is going to work and get it right the first time before committing to drawing in all of this. We can do it on the fly, change it out, and make sure that it's going to work and be awesome. That wraps everything up for this video, so thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and as always, I hope this inspires you to get out there and make something awesome. For more information on Loopcloud or to try it for yourself today, you can head over to loopcloud.com.